With our recent improvements to public transit, new investments in public services, and some major traffic fixing, East Haven County is experiencing a bit of a boom in residential demand. So today we're building the two extremes of density. First, a classic car-dependent suburb, then a skyline upgrade in Fort John with some flashy skyscrapers. Let's get started. Alright, so this suburb is going to be pretty massive. I wanted to have a large footprint because it's going to make the comparison between the demographics of this suburb and a much higher density area a lot more interesting. And it's also going to just highlight some of the real life issues and differences between medium and high density developments and very low density developments. The road layout is going to be pretty simple, with a main arterial cutting through the entire suburb and then a bunch of branching roads for all the residential developments. Now, many of these streets are highways that I then edit with Road Builder to add a median in the center, to add zoning capabilities, and to just lower the speed limit a little bit. Not too much. I don't want it to be pedestrian friendly at all, but I don't want it to be highway speeds either. Now, if you're wondering why this is a voiceover segment instead of real-time Let's Play, it's because most of this episode was recorded while I had the flu or was recovering from it, which you might be able to hear from my voice. It's a little more rough and coarse than usual. So yeah, I'm gonna keep quiet now and I'll get back to you when this road layout is finalized. Being overall pretty content with this initial road layout, I've decided to map the entire suburb into a single district, which I've named Emerson, based on the Emerson Industrial Estate that separates this suburb from the airport. We might end up splitting Emerson into separate districts for a better narrative, I guess, but initially it's just a lot of fun to see just how different the demographics of such a sprawling, large footprint suburb would be if we compare it to something a little more dense. Not even downtown, but maybe just Yorktown. This is home to 2,000 people, and my best guess is that despite Emerson taking up maybe 6 or 7 times the actual footprint of Yorktown, it's going to have maybe half the population. But before we resort to the mass zoning of Emerson, I want to have a commercial center. I say center, but it's going to be a proper suburban shopping mall. And I'm hopeful we can achieve this with some clever use of parking lot roads and assets, and then some really light detailing. We're just gonna do a tiny bit of preparation work by making these junctions a little wider, a little more car friendly by using manipulation mode of Move It. Obviously this is not a pedestrian friendly area by any means. It is quite the opposite in fact. And when the almighty automobile moves in, wildlife, oh that is cute, moves out. So I'm just gonna throw these fellas in the dumpster, get out of here. I am trying to build some sprawl. With those pesky buggers out of the way, we're now ready to look for some sprawling commercial lots, low density of course. I think we have a few 6x6 available from the southwest region pack, so we're going to utilize some of them. This seems to be sort of a corner lot even. You can even sit outside it seems, have a coffee, watch all the high-speed traffic if you so desire. And I'm probably just gonna use one more from this pack as well, just due to the massive size. Now I wouldn't mind just angling them slightly, because that is not too uncommon in a sprawling environment like this, probably angling it like this actually. Moving down a bit to a 5x6 lot is going to give us a ton of options with plenty of actual parking within the assets, and this is perfect. This is exactly what we want. Before adding any more assets, we're going to get some parking lots in place, and I do love the one-way parking alleys because they are sufficiently narrow to easily wiggle in between all these assets. Technically they wouldn't have to be narrow given the theme of this area. They could take up a lot of space, but I kind of want to downscale things just a little bit so it doesn't get too out of whack. Of course, as these are also zonable and we have the waterfront packs available to us now, we can add some additional variety by just getting these squeezed in. Some of them might need a recolor, but most of them actually work right out the box. We're going to wrap up with a Gusto Gelato ice cream shop and then maybe just a local fire station for good measure. The distance out here is actually, wait a minute, I'm pretty certain that there's a massive fire station in the nearby industrial estate which also serves the airport. So I think we're good to go. And without any further detailing through bushes, services or decals, I think this looks pretty nice. I'm probably going to streamline a few of the colors with recolor. I'm just thinking that maybe, just maybe, there'd be a little something for the kids out here, where you can park them with their dad and then do all the shopping needed. So a Ferris ride park. It's maybe not fully in character with an area like this, but I mean the natural surroundings actually aren't too bad. So if we just get that aligned here, you can kind of imagine the views from this ferry ride. At least looking north and west. Yeah, this direction is a little more boring. While we are on the topic of kids, we should probably build an elementary school out here. I want to go for the Suburban primary one because it's pretty large and sprawling, which I don't mind at all. So I guess a more central location would be this middle segment of Emerson. So just enabling contour lines. Let's just kind of flip it like this and get it placed right here so we don't encroach too much on our available zoning space. And then just get a quick road connection. Wouldn't mind once again utilizing some of these parking roads. Yeah, that is some simple stuff, but that is gonna do. In terms of the mass zoning, we're actually just gonna go for the vanilla North American low density housing theme. I hope that the added asset variety from the free bike patch is going to show its strength as we zone such a large area. While it's a pretty quick and dirty approach, I do try to be mindful of having these 2x2 lots spawn because, yeah, they're just not looking too great, I feel. So sometimes I'm just going to dezone, get rid of them entirely. And then when we spam trees, then this is just going to be like a lot where a tree is actually going to spawn in without having to use anarchy. Which is fine. I think that adds a bit of extra character to the area. But yeah, I do try to just avoid these 2x2 lots because, I mean, scale-wise, they just end up looking a little too funky for my taste. I am also reserving this northwestern segment of Emerson because I imagine that this location is a little more desirable. It might even be a more recent addition to the existing layout of Emerson, so I'm probably going to plop some specific types of suburban developments out here. And also just slightly differentiate the road layout, making it look a little more modern by adding roundabouts maybe. I'd really like to avoid having to move in with anarchy and adding a ton of trees everywhere just for this area to look a little more realistic. So instead we're going to utilize the change tree age tool to just get all the trees up to speed, making them all elderly. But as you can probably tell, most of these vanilla assets don't have actual trees within their lots. They are a bigger fan of bushes for some reason. Now we can actually use the change tree type tool to change all that up. So I wonder if we can select 2 ages, or actually I should probably just go for mature so that they're not too big, because this is essentially going to change all the bushes or all the trees as well within these assets to one of these selections at random. So I think I'm going to deselect the elder because that is just too big, and we'll add in the apple tree instead, and we'll just try this out. Now that is a fantastic visual change, much more realistic. Although it does also affect the roads, but we can move in specifically for the roads afterwards and just get that fixed up. Oh yeah, loading up the game for the very first time with the 2 new content creator packs. Skyscrapers and supply chains. And looking at these skyscrapers, they look stunning. Among the best assets I've seen across both cities games. Now, unfortunately, they are true to scale, which is amazing, and it shows that Revo has not made any compromises in achieving perfection in this pack. Like, this building is 600 meters tall. The reason I say unfortunately is that they are real life scales and they don't really fit into East Haven County. Although that does beg the question, should we have a new series where they might fit? Let me know in the comments. Silver Dragon 600 meters, the Lighthouse Point 205, Grand View Heights 290, and just look at the footprint of this thing. It's like 5 skyscrapers in one with this massive platform. Hurston Yards, I know where the inspiration from this was taken from. 350 meters. The Great Tower of Commerce, 546. Once again, we're probably looking at Chicago right here. Bell Creek at 127, so it's not too bad, but the footprint is massive, so I don't really have a downtown that, you know, have these large modern-sized city blocks. The downtown of Fort John is, I mean, it's more than 350 years old. But yeah, I would really love to use some of these, and I do think that would require an all-new city. Now, something we can definitely implement here in East Haven County is the supply chains assets. These are just as good and once again on a scale without compromises, which is perfect. And we start off with the sporting goods store, and I think we're actually going to place this in Emerson in just a minute when we've looked through a few of these other assets. So we've got the brand and lifestyle center, the bottle cap office, livestock processing facility, fabrication unit, farmers market. Oh, this is nice. The sports bar, maybe that should be right next to the sporting goods store. Like if we place it near the, like near some water, you might have a bit of a view even. The energy lobbying office, and this one just screams downtown Mercy to me, like it would fit right in with the architecture of that city. Baker and confectionery, we can definitely fit this in somewhere as well. The steelworks, I'd love to use that as well. It is absolutely massive. Energy drink bottling plant, the athletic wear factory, the cereal mill, the livestock exchange, television production studio. Oh man, this is so cool. So let's kick off with the sporting goods store. You'll be amazed at how nice this asset is. I mean, on the surface, just given the name, it doesn't sound too exciting, but it just feels like such a North American thing to have these massive outlets for like a single theme, where you can probably buy anything your heart might content within fishing gear and hunting gear and whatnot. At least I think that's how I'm supposed to translate sporting gear in like a US context. But we're gonna be cheeky here and just flatten a massive area here on the southwestern outskirts of Emerson. We'll just add in a quick, simple frontage road and get the asset placed so that we have like a sense of scale and can kind of figure out what to really do with it. So moving into signature buildings, I imagine this to be a commercial one. And I am going to, let's see, filter for the supply chains creator pack. So this is the sports bar, here it is, the sporting goods store. The good news, we have monumental demand for our athletic wear. The bad news, we have nowhere to sell it, especially not in the quantities we're expecting. Let's fix that. So it provides 60 attractiveness, a -1% import cost citywide, a +1% attractiveness citywide, and a +3 well-being within 500 meters. Oh, it is just massive and it looks fantastic. So let's just bring this relatively close to Route 28. Yoink. That is just incredible work by Buddy there. I mean, just look at the amount of landscaping and the custom parking lot with fully working pathing as well. Oh man, that is awesome. It is also fully recoverable with the recolor mod. So I can just tune down the roofing a little bit if I want to. Oh, that's nice. I think we'll make sure to get a connection here as well with an alley, even though that's not necessary for it to function, but no, just for a good measure. We'll move to about here and then add a simple curve, and then hopefully we can just do a quick change on the surfaces here just to kind of cover it and actually have that work with the with this open space here. So let's see, on this end, let's just do something a little interesting. like this, and then we'll add this type of grass right here. And then there was the new sports bar asset. Like, I imagine there's like at least 1 or 2 dining options within this sporting goods store, just given the size of it. I mean, real nerds can probably spend hours here, but like a dedicated sports bar, maybe with a bit of a view, because as we've discussed before, the view here is pretty awesome. I think that would be a nice fit. So we can find it in commercial. Once again, we filter for the supply chains and we grab it right here. So I want to kind of angle this so that there's a bit of a view out to this beautiful landscape. So let's see, where do you sit? I guess I should actually angle it like this then, just to kind of make sure that works. Just gonna bring it back a little bit. Yank. And then let's get rid of the zoning here. And just make sure this is connected, probably with a bit of parking as well. We're gonna make sure we have a couple of direct connections to the main avenue. Should probably just name this Emerson Avenue, to be honest. But then I think this might also be a decent location actually for a bit, just a tiny bit of medium density residential. You know, some relatively modern new developments that have been added in recent years. Because, you know, getting some medium density stuff is all the rage currently. Just gotta make sure we've got these connections in place at first. Just like this, and then I think this spot is perfect for, let's see, it needs to be modern, contemporary. So I think we're going to have a look within the Southwest USA pack. Also, it shouldn't be too dense, so I'm looking for a pretty large footprint, probably 6 tiles deep. Well, I guess I'll have to settle with 5, because that's how far it goes. We do have a couple of great options here though, so let's utilize a few of these. But should I place them alongside the main? Yeah, I am. So it's medium density, which is nice, but then you are directly connected to Emerson Avenue, which is less nice. There's like no sidewalk here for starters, but that's just how it is, I guess. Let's just make sure they have the same color scheme and use better bulldozer to just get rid of the palm trees, because they're probably not the best fit. And then let's get a bit more parking behind here, mainly meant not for customers of sporting goods, but for the residents here. I do think with such a nice big focal point, the connectivity between Emerson Avenue and Route 28 might deserve just a bit extra. So maybe just an additional lane here, like a slip lane, so you can get in the westward direction easily. I don't know how much use this would see as this is moving into the outside connection, but it's probably going to look nice. And we've never ever had to get a more complex excuse than things looking nice on this channel. They don't even have to look nice, they can just look interesting. So let's see if we can branch out from the crossing we already have here to not cause too much of a hiccup. Yank, and of course get rid of the traffic signal. Now should we do this as well, just for complexity? A dedicated right turn, and then we can disallow this right turn. Maybe we can even do something like this. Oh, things are getting wonky now. Let's get this downgraded then to, what would that be? Would that be a 4? A 2+2, something like this? Yes, it would. Yank. And then we are going to disallow this right turn right here, so they can just move straight through. And then we're gonna be just a little more selective with the tree placement. I do imagine that most of this was cleared to build Route 28 as it moves through this area. And then maybe just a bit was planted, but it should still look a little more barren than the remaining, or sorry, the surrounding forest. Going to use the traffic mod to just make sure that this extra connection is actually in place, so that you can also choose to, oh sorry, I'm going to change this one so you can choose both lanes. That's what I meant to do. We're going to extend these surfaces to a bit of quick surface work here in Amazon, just making the grass you know, it's a little more barren, a little more dry around all the vehicle traffic out here. And then we're going to do something fun by grabbing a pavement surface, this one right here, that adds this worn visual effect. So as you can see, we can add that on top of Emerson Avenue and some of these parking lots here, and that is going to work wonderfully in just making it look a lot more rundown and used, basically. Because I imagine the suburb is from the maybe initial stages are from the 50s, like the post-war boom in suburban construction. So some parts of Emerson Avenue and this suburban shopping center could use a bit of repavement. And then on the flip side, this parking lot here was added as part of the modern medium density development, so it is a lot newer and has a different shade, like it's freshly paved or freshly resurfaced. I'm actually not sure what the correct term is, but you get the general idea, I think. Yeah, I do think this turned out pretty well. That is just a nice angle. Ready to serve all the needs of my suburbanites. And we have Mercy there in the background. A bit of an odd perspective due to the field of view. And then Fort John, of course. But this turned out to be a much more interesting, fully suburban build than I initially planned for. Now, we may not be able to utilize the tallest of the new skyscrapers from the new pack, but we can certainly reach new heights here in Fort John with something just a smidge taller than the current skyline. I am of course referring to the most recent vote on the community page, and if you don't want to miss out on future votes, make sure to subscribe and enable notifications. Anyways, the investors proposed demolishing this 1979 office building and instead developing a massive residential tower, a new focal point at the very heart of the county to meet some of the massive new residential demand. I might have slightly overused the word massive, but you guys have voted in favor of this new development. And I did mention in the vote that if it turned out to be a yes, I would probably repurpose this bad boy somewhere else. So I think for now, I'm just going to quickly place it down here, and then we'll figure out what the future plan is. But this asset is just too nice to throw away, it's too unique looking. Now this leaves us with plenty of space for the new massive development. Now the new development is actually the vanilla Halo Heights building, which is a really nice looking asset, but as you can see, it is going to dramatically change the skyline of Fort John. Worry not though, with so much demand we can only expect other investors or developers to follow suit and add new tall projects to the downtown as well, so that this one is going to blend in a little better than it currently will. Anyways, I'm just gonna try and flip it and place it somewhere like this, I think. We could flip it 180 as well, so that the, technically the backside is out towards the avenue here, but I think I'm just going to place it normally at first, and then you guys can let me know if you insist on it looking a little differently. Obviously, it is going to require a hefty bit of sub-element removal with better bulldozer, but this usually doesn't give me any issues, so I don't think this is going to be troublesome at all. I actually don't think it looks too out of place, and I guess someone kind of has to move first to set like a new precedence for new skyscraper developments in like high demand areas, so why not this one? Oh, and it does add almost 1,000 individual apartment units, so yeah, in terms of satisfying the high density residential demand, it is the perfect fit. Okay, so I know I said that I didn't expect to be able to utilize any of the new skyscrapers within Fort John, with the main excuse being that the downtown area is super old and none of the blocks are really all that big. But technically, that's not entirely the truth. You see, this block in particular is a bit of an ugly mishmash of weird assets. It's located between Oak Avenue, Garnet Street and Park Street. And while I do think the cat building, this guy, is very much preservable, the rest, yeah, I mean, that can kinda go. So let's see if we can figure out something else entirely right here. We're just going to pause the game. And then we're going to see if we can repurpose a few of these buildings. Like this residential tower, I would hate to just evict 400 people in a time of desperate residential demand. So if possible, can I just kind of drag you over here? Oh yeah. This is very realistic, by the way. So far, so good. So let's clean up the rest of the block here. Except for the cat building, of course, that is very much preservable. Which means that we will magically relocate it to somewhere else. I think, just to kind of balance things out a little bit on either side of Queen's Passage, we are going to move it over here to 376 Queen's Passage. So I'm going to get rid of this low income tower. I'm going to try and flip this one around, and we'll just bring that right onto this location instead. It even seems like I can keep this quote-unquote custom storefront at ground level, turning it into mixed use, more or less. Very nice, I think that works. Now we just need the cat. This time around it would be kinda cool to actually add this mural to the entire facade here. Although it's probably going to look a little trippy, so we'll add one version here, and then let's flip this. Let's turn this around and just kind of move this down. So we've got some pretty trippy upside down cat paws, basically. Yeah, sure, let's go for that. I mean, it's even more visible now, I guess, with this location. And now we have our empty lot. We're going to use Find It to filter for buildings and the Skyscraper Creator Pack. And some of these are just, oh my, these are just amazing, but I think I have exactly the right fit. This complex is what we're looking for. And what I like about it the most is that besides being an absolutely gorgeous asset, it also kinda mimics the architectural style of the modern redevelopment by the transit hub. I mean, it kinda has these, you know, swoopy lines. It even has a bit of this green-blue color scheme as well. It's almost a perfect fit, to be honest. And of course, it can just about fit within this lot, with a bit of anarchy, mind you. So let's see if we can get this squeezed in. What an asset. That is just awesome, and I love this platform and these different tiers within it. That is just great. So this looks a little weird. Why not add, yeah, you know, an additional road, bit of complexity. Let's grab this exact same one and just move across here. Yoink. Now that is just That is just an incredible asset. It's not taller than the Halo Heights we added previously, but I think it does balance out the skyline a little more, so that the Halo Heights isn't, you know, it doesn't really stand out as much anymore. It even has a wellness center upgrade for usage by all the unaffordable housing units within it. So yeah, let's get that added. And the pool as well. But we're not done just yet. Oh yes, it's time to demolish yet another slightly historical block within Fort John. So this time we're going to move beyond Queen's Passage to get a bit of extra development in here. And let's just see, I think we're gonna get rid of some stuff right here. Oh my, look at all the people we just forcibly displaced. So, are we going to build them a new, nice home? No. We're going to add an office building, the Corona, because it's a perfect fit for this lot. And it is just brutal looking. I mean, this building just screams 1980s money. Gordon Gekko, Wall Street style. It is maybe, I don't know, it's maybe a little too dark. So fortunately for us, we can just kind of tone that down a little bit. A really cool addition with these new skyscrapers is that you can actually upgrade them to provide service or utility coverage. In this case, we can convert it to a 3,000 student capacity university, which is also then going to unlock some cool additional assets you can place. We're not going to do that because we really don't have the space, but it's just a really nice feature. Now we're of course going to detail these slots a little bit, if anything just by adding a custom surface, but we're not finished with the Skyscraper pack. We're going to move out to the area between Back Bay and Queen's Cape. Most of you will know that Queen's Cape has developed a little business district of its own in the past 20 or 30 years, mainly due to like the lack of space in downtown Fort John, which apparently isn't much of an issue anymore. Anyways, I would like to add some more unique buildings out here. I'm not a massive fan of this tower in particular, so I think I'm gonna start by just relocating it to this lot over here. It may have to go all together, but I'm just gonna start by moving it just in case. Then we'll open the Skyscraper pack and I am going to locate the Emerald Towers. Look at these guys. Oh yes. So I think we'll be adding these as well to the Back Bay area. This is a really cool modern residential development, which I don't think is completely unreasonable in a location like this, seeing a lot of modern redevelopment, like very high demand area, close to amenities, close to sports facilities, all that good stuff. It is going to require a bit of a key added, but otherwise it should blend in pretty well. I'm not saying this is definitively the best viewing deck in East Haven County, but it's gotta be up there. You get it? Up there, but yeah, whatever. This is a cool asset. Once again, a cool asset, and I think it's a really nice, very contemporary, modern addition to the Queen's Cape skyline. And we should probably turn this into a fully fledged rich people marina at some point, but I think for now we're just gonna add like a few yachts. Yeah, not a bad place to live. Keeping things super simple, getting rid of, let's see. Actually, I don't really mind this one. Probably just going to switch it for something nicer, especially because I don't want to remove the landscaping in here. Oh yeah, we're going to utilize this German-inspired one. So just switching those two out, we should be able to easily just make sure these make it all the way out to the edges of the lot. I always forget to get like a good nighttime look, so I'm gonna remember this time around, which I'm sure some of you are going to enjoy. So let's just get the lights on. Oh, this game looks Fantastic. Just letting everything turn on, and we'll just have a look around. That is a cool shot.